Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lake of Voices. This is a visual novel that was recommended to me by a viewer, and we are going through this. I don't know much other than this is a visual novel and has a theme of like horror, I think. Maybe not horror, but like something along those lines. And I guess we're going to start it today. I just want to know, or rather state that I looked it up and it said that this game is roughly 2 to 5 hours long, depending on how you play it. So I'm going to try to keep to my usual length of about an hour per video, if not maybe 45 minutes. We'll see how it goes, depending on how the pacing of the story is. But if the pacing is fast enough, maybe what I'll do is I'll cut them into 30-minute to 45-minute videos, just to kind of make sure that we get a break every once in a while, depending on how engrossing it is. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. And if you are, stick around because we're getting started right now. All right, choices. You'll need to make various decisions throughout Lake of Voices. Here are a few details to keep in mind. Certain choices are timed. Time running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open new possibilities. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kikka has any special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch into one of 5 different plot lines based on your earlier decisions. The other characters cannot manage all situations in the various plot lines regardless of what you do. If a character isn't making it, try getting that plot with a different set of survivors or having the same group of characters venture through some other storyline. Becoming closer to someone can add and or remove future choice options and change how some scenes play out. Your decision to build that connection may not go unnoticed by other characters. Earning the full amount of affection with certain characters can require getting into specific plot lines. So it seems that there's a lot of choices to make in this game, and apparently choices matter. I feel like for a bigger budget game, it would be akin to what's the game called? Until Dawn, something like that, where apparently people can die, perhaps. So let's see how this goes. My grip on my lantern tightens as the fog around us thickens. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Sinnlos, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to a nervous reflex.
Have you seen it before?
Bemelle breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or assuaging his own. I hope it's the latter.
I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What of you?
Bemelle scratches his chin casually, as though I asked what his favorite food is.
I traveled a long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves. Although, even being near it is enough.
So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me, but not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. The lake, Sinnlos. Most try their best to avoid it with all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross its unearthly black water, dragged to death by the creatures lurking within, aren't a secret.
No wonder you were assigned this mission.
There are few who've had first-hand experience with the place. Even if, from a distance, he'd probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross, for however long he's with us. Bemelle shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us.
At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better.
Seems like everybody's kind of like avoiding this area. because of the creatures and the things that happen to people coming through the area. But he seems to be one of the few, or if not only, people who seems to actually be okay with going through the ordeal.
It would be preferable not to risk it. But time is of the essence. We don't really have a choice.
One of our allied villages, Hemmer, is being harassed by brigadiers, a band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to tend as an assist. We don't have many guards to send as an assist, only Bemelle and myself. The least we could do is arrive before we are too late to be of any use. These kinds of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or an all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far off.
I can also see why they chose you to come out here.
I glance at Bemelle, an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips.
You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had.
I guess that says a lot about Kikka and her abilities. A smile now tugs at my own lips. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he had just described. And if that's how he sees me, I'd like to keep it that way. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I do the same. It wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. Bemelle appears to feel differently, however.
You know the town on the other side of the lake, though. It's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty confident. For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when applicable. Bemelle is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps keep his worries down and his sword hand ready, I have no complaints. After a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it, the sounds of water gently lapping at its sides. Bemelle shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it will go. He seems tense.
Someone's already here.
A young woman stands by the dock, eyeing us warily. Does she intend to cross tonight? Evidently, she has the same question. As we step up next to her, it's clear she isn't simply passing by, she's waiting. The stranger nods curtly to us.
Margaret.
Kikka the Steadfast.
Bemelle. Hello?
Oh, Bemelle. Okay, I'll get your name right. There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake, expression unclear. With not much to say, Bemelle and I do the same. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. Wind rushes across its surface, a sound like whispering. Though perhaps it actually is whispering. I concentrate, trying to place the difference, searching for breaks in rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. It doesn't matter what the noise is. Whether I hear them or not, we're not alone. The Nixi are out there. A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they've already noticed the little group of people on their shores. It feels hostile. My stomach sinks, and I instead address Bemelle.
Where is the guide?
Unless he's on the center island, or on the complete other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there.
He seems to be a little curt with her, just because maybe he's trying to fight his own timidness or his own, being afraid. Because he wasn't like this earlier. It's a little rough right now. Panic rises inside of me. Panic I try hard to quell.
We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon.
You can't cross with him either.
What do you mean? The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort.
What?
I know the guide will be here tonight. I have already made arrangements with him to cross.
Bemelle and I share a look. The woman seems haughty, and willing to put up a fuss.
I have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer.
So she's saying she's gonna go alone because she's already made plans. So she's basically a Karen and saying, if you want to go ahead, then you better go around right now. And it's gonna take you a while, but you should just leave now if you want to get there. Basically is what she's saying. I don't need to turn my attention to Bemelle to know he's riled up. I step in before he can say something rash.
Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight.
Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further.
We'll wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this.
Yep, that's how you take over a conversation. You just anticipate what they're gonna say and you address it before anything happens. She clamps her mouth shut, then lets out a sigh.
You can do as you like.
With the matter tentatively settled, Bemelle moves away. His fingers begin to tap loudly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another, then groans. He's being impatient right now.
What's that bastard even up to?
I almost visibly start, but manage to restrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm sure of that. It's not worth mentioning.
With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask the guide to take you across.
Well, look who's talking.
How ludicrous. He's faced far worse than a bit of foul language.
If he is the person that shuttles people back and forth in this area, that's probably definitely the case.
Do you know anything that's happened with this lake?
I know enough.
I know enough. Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back to him.
The guide's father is Garvin the Exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son, all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless.
Oh.
Bemelle rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful.
My apologies to the guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about his... well, that.
Well, why would you? Maybe don't judge people before you get to know them, maybe. A smile spreads across my face, one I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated, and Bemelle abashed. Alright. I'm sure you're forgiven, Bemelle.
I know you. You are brash but not intentionally cruel. I'm sure all is well.
Bemelle smiles and claps me on the back.
You're a good woman, Kikka. Smart, too. You've never been here, yet you knew more of the guide than I did.
It's called research.
I know about Garvin, truthfully. Tales of his deeds were some of the only stories my parents ever told.
Is that so? You could tell me more about it sometime.
I pause, unsure how to respond to this type of request.
I would like that very much.
Are you blushing? Are you trying to get with Kikka?
Yes, I wouldn't mind that. It must wait until after this trip, though.
Of course. We should drop this topic sooner rather than later, in any case.
Yeah, we've got a job to do here.
I agree.
Even if there's no harm meant, hearing someone mention Garvin is probably difficult for the guide, no matter what the circumstance. With the topic dropped, we each remain locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer, until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. That must be the guide, although I can't shake the ghostly aura it gives off. The figure steps onto the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the waters we can get before it is no longer safe. He stops in front of us and simply stares.
Are you the guide of Sinnlos?
The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes.
Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake.
Bemelle motions to the two of us, and Margaret approaches, a strained smile on her face.
Hello, it's good to see you again. I'm ready to cross, as we've agreed upon.
The guide turns to face her as well, face remaining unchanged. It must not be a lie. He would have had to say something otherwise. She really does have a preference to travel with him. That's a problem.
Is there a way we can all begin the trip tonight?
Yes, I will allow all 3 of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side.
Damn, bro. Just straight off saying, yeah, one of you is gonna die. These woods and the lake must have a really big rep, but for him to just come out and say, I can guarantee 2 of you will make it, but if all 3 of us go, one person is definitely gonna bite it. That's a big baller move right there. I furrow my brow. It's a disturbing addendum, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bemelle glares back, asking without asking what we're supposed to do with such circumstances.
You should go around.
Alright. I mean, he's the expert, right? The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken. If you want to live.
We don't have time for that. There are people counting on us for protection. Why does she need to go?
He jerks a finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger.
I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances.
It must be really important for her to, really push, because these people are warriors. Bemelle and Kikka, they're both, warrior class knights. I don't know what have you, but they obviously are fighters, and she doesn't look hardly like a fighter at all. But it must be really important for her to push back, even if she is a Karen. I mean, there's some semblance of having to try to take care of yourself. But yeah, I don't know what her issue is, but I mean, she's got some kind of thing going on. I'm gonna save real quick. Alright, let's continue. She meets Bemelle's eyes with a gaze of steel. He starts to speak and she cuts in.
An extra day or 2 shouldn't be that much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait such a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue, after all.
She doesn't know the circumstances at all, but is pretending to put on airs.
The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridges when the sun comes up, we'll all die as they sink back below the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going.
Well, he's the expert. He would know. The guide is dispassionate, stoic. I would almost feel something's wrong with him if I didn't share the trait myself. Bemelle pulls me to the side, jaw clenched tight.
That woman isn't armed.
That's what I'm saying. His voice is low. He darts a glance at Margaret.
We can easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes? If one of us really is to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death?
I mean, I can't disagree with what he says. The two of them are trying to get across to the other side to protect a village, but we don't know her reasoning. It could be just as valid. I mean, what if, I don't know, she's a healer from another village and she's going to heal somebody on the other side who is of great importance? You never know. I stare at the dock, refusing to meet Bemelle's eyes, and try to keep my voice as level as possible.
We don't know her situation. This isn't a decision we can make for her.
That's what I'm saying. Really.
What?
Bemelle leans in closer, apparently having missed what I said. I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak again.
The guide won't accept something like that, I assume.
His face is grim.
Then what else do you have in mind?
I guess maybe we decide to go, all three, and hope for the best, or maybe we go around.
First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay, or we both go.
Right. That's not a question.
Indeed. I cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bemelle's. There's no reason not to believe the guide knows exactly what he's talking about. If we go, he might not be able to give the group the attention we each deserve. That would mean we truly would be putting Margaret's life at risk on top of our own. Let's say nothing. The guide approaches Bemelle and me before I have time to sort out my thoughts.
You will stay.
Well, I guess that's that then.
What?
You would have already decided to come if you had the proper mindset for a journey such as this. You two will stay.
He's not wrong.
But you don't understand.
The guide raises a hand to me, eyes cold. My words die in my throat. If he decides we aren't fit to cross, how could we persuade him otherwise?
This is bullshit! We are more than equipped to make this journey, and we know more of what it means to be in danger than most will know in all their life.
Then you wouldn't need the guide at the end of the day, would you? But it's not true.
You two will stay.
Bemelle's muscles tense, and I put a hand on his arm. He trembles slightly beneath my fingers, his hands curling themselves into fists, but he doesn't say another word. The guide turns around and heads onto the bridge. Margaret uncomfortably looks from the guide to us.
Goodbye.
Then she steps onto the bridge after him. Bemelle sighs, the anger releasing from him as they disappear into the fog.
Farewell.
That seems so ominous. Be safe. It feels so ominous the way that they said goodbye there. We reached Hemmer safely, though it took much longer than we would like to have. Though it took much longer than we would have liked. Much of the village had been damaged or even destroyed. It was my fault for taking so long. I did all I could to aid them in defending their town and repairing what could be salvaged. Bemelle was disheartened by how little assistance we were able to provide. However, he could not deny how fortunate we were to have both made it at all, especially after we caught wind of the report given by the guide to the elders for that night. Every village close enough to Sinnlos gets informed of what occurs in that lake. He does so because communities wish to be made aware if they have lost one of their own. This time, his news was the death of a young woman. The one we spoke to, Margaret, is gone. Damn. I have not heard nor seen the guide myself since then. I must assume he is still there on that foggy shore, waiting for desperate souls to seek out his light so they may cross the lake of true darkness. Although I regret that I was not able to do more to protect these people, no one admonishes me for it. They seem sure that I did everything possible. I hope that is true, even if I cannot bring myself to believe it. Soon, Bemelle and I will return home, and we will once again take the long way around. My one piece in all of this is that Sinnlos will be far behind me in a matter of days. I intend to keep it there. Wow. What an intro. What an intro. Oh, was that the game? Huh. Well, there you go, guys. That was, I guess that was the game. All right, maybe what I'll do is I'll end the video here. It'll be a short one, but what we'll do is we'll start a new game and we'll actually go on the bridge this time and see what happens. I'm just curious because there must be more that happens here because of it. So Please let me know how you enjoyed this story. It was a free game, so at least it was free on Steam. So if you want to play it and you want to see more of the other stuff without watching, or if you want to experience more than what I'm going to be putting up on YouTube, please feel free to go ahead and download it and play it. It was really very interesting. It was rather short, but again, I'm not going to complain. It was just interesting, and maybe it'll be a bit longer if we do decide to actually cross on the bridge, which again, I'm going to do in the next video. If you're looking forward to that, please join me for that one. And until then, bye.